welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core number 88. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Melissa Wilkinson. Melissa.
Hi.
She-Hulk, episode 8. We're here to do our reactions. What are you thinking? How are you? Where does this one rank? What's your thoughts?
I don't like to rank the individual episodes. I don't know if TV's like made to be viewed that way the first run through. But I had a good time. There's a lot of different emotions in play in this episode. Things you're delighted to see. Things that you dread to see.
Yeah. All sorts of stuff. I really enjoyed this one. I had a blast. I think I was personally waiting for this one since I think that's why I liked it so much. It's that I saw Daredevil in that trailer and I was like, give me Daredevil in this show. I need him right now. And they just kept putting it off, kept teasing. And we finally got it. Daredevil showed up in this one. I had a blast. I really like this one. I think there's a lot of really interesting details in this.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to talk about all of that stuff. Melissa, let's jump right in. And speaking of jumping, what did you think of Frogman or whatever his name was? Leapfrog. There you go. Yeah, what did you think of Leapfrog?
He's entertaining. I like that he's trying to do good. It's very minor good. He's stopping some guys from stealing 3 TVs from an electronics store in the middle of the night. I love the disproportionate level to which he's got like rocket boots. And he uses it to save 3 TVs from being stolen. And
right,
to have a guy who seems like he's that obsessed with like justice and heroism at the beginning to be like, well, now I just have to kidnap the guy who made my suit wrong and get him to make me a new suit. It's like, who are you? Where do you fall on the hero villain spectrum?
Right, because I'm trying to think of like, he's not chaotic good per se. Because he also has like a secret villain lair and henchmen and like all that. Like, what is going on here? Like, he's not chaotic evil though, or like neutral. But I'm not sure where he would fall on that spectrum. But it's the thing of he's wanting to do good. He thinks he's doing good, but it's just not.
No. He thinks he can put jet fuel in his rocket boots.
Yeah.
Where'd he even get jet fuel? Take that out of his hands.
I don't know. But yeah, I thought he was a funny character to include. I liked him there. I mentioned his villain layer. I thought that was a neat addition. As stupid as it was that he had this like bright neon sign over his secret headquarters, right? That is something we haven't really seen much of in the MCU. There are like layers in. I guess you could stretch the word to be like, well, Iron Man's workshop is kind of a lair.
Any place where a person lives is their lair. Baron Zemo had a cool looking mansion, but like this is a lair thematically. It is frog themed. It looks swampy.
Yeah, it feels like something out of a video game in a weird way that you show up and it's like, okay, you have to infiltrate the building. There's 25 people you need to take out, and then you can get to the story mission once you finally take them all out and get in that central room. But yeah, I loved it. I loved that it was another legal case that Jen had to take on, and it was Matt that showed up for that. The twist on this thing is that Leapfrog is trying to sue for his suit malfunctioning, and it turns out he's more of a dummy than She-Hulk thought, and like you said, had the like jet fuel when he's not supposed to, and that's why it exploded and stuff like that. But God, what's his name? You know me, I'm terrible at names. Luke, is that his name? No.
Who?
The fashion designer dude. What's his name?
Yes, Luke. Yeah.
Luke. So yeah, they're trying to sue him, and Luke, since he has another lawyer that he makes suits for, was like, hey, Matt Murdock, you should represent me here in this thing. And Matt shows up.
And I think that's fun because you and I didn't predict that. I didn't hear anybody on like New Rockstars or something predicting it. I think it's fun when you've got this show or this movie coming out that you're following really closely. And you've got all these theories about this is how this character enters the narrative. And then you watch the thing and they've come up with a much more elegant explanation than you ever did on your own.
Yeah. Because like I like that he comes in and he's not, I mean, I feel like the show almost made him look like a better lawyer than she was, but I think the show also tries to do some work to be like he's not actually trying to be better. Like her client just didn't tell her everything, and so she just kind of got stuck there. But I mean, he comes in and just wipes the floor, and it's just like, you can't do that. What kind of fuel did you have? You can't do that. Blah, blah. And man, it was so good to see them together on screen. I was like, I am loving this. This is great.
Yeah, I was glad we got to see them in superhero mode and in lawyer mode. We didn't just breeze past the lawyer bits.
Yeah. There is one interesting thing from this initial kind of like lawyering scene that I think is new information. The Sekovia Accords have been repealed. Did we know this? Is this new info?
I don't think we did, but like, I don't know if anybody's mentioned them in a while. I'd have to watch Civil War again and refresh myself on exactly all of the things the Sokovia Awards.
Sokovia Awards.
You've been nominated for Best Floating City.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a superhero registration act, but it was more so for the Avengers, for them to kind of be the UN peacekeeping force, but that probably had other legal ramifications. As more and more superpowered individuals started popping up. Do they have, like, where is vigilantism in this whole thing? Is that legal? Are they allowed to do that because they have powers and stuff, and just because they say they're there for justice and doing the right thing? Or has it been like, no, if you're going to do this, you need to. I mean, has there been some talk of a superhero registration act that we just haven't heard of yet? Of like, hey, even if it's just with your like local police force, somehow, some way, you need to. Yeah.
Somebody needs to know your name. You need to have your own Commissioner Gordon, whoever you are.
Something like that. Yeah, like we haven't heard much, and I think the last kind of thing dealing with it was Black Widow, and how Thunderbolt Ross was still going after her from some of this stuff. I think that was kind of one of the ramifications of that. So when Matt mentioned that, and he was like, oh, well, the Sokovia Accords, they've been repealed. I was like, that's new. That's we haven't heard that. That's a big deal. So that was just a detail that I was like, whoa, wait, hold on here. Let's not gloss over this. But they did. Oh well. Good stuff. Then after that, yes, we do get to see both Matt and Jen in superhero mode.
Yeah.
Too. They go to Leapfrog's lair. They start taking out some of the bad guys. Even slightly before that, they kind of fight against one another as they're just like, who are you? What's happening?
Yeah.
What did you think of their superheroing together?
I liked it. I'd heard recaps of the scene that was shown at D23 in preview of this, so I kind of knew what to expect, but great to see it in person. I like their dynamic with each other. I love to see Jen in her super suit, how like She-Hulk looks really cool. And then when she's just Jen, it looks like she's a toddler wearing like a romper that's a hand-me-down from a bigger cousin. I love the juxtaposition of how cool she looks as She-Hulk. Right? Sure. It's so baggy. I think it's a great costume piece that really works to look cool and to look comical in either form she's in.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked these two on screen together. I think they had great chemistry. And I don't know if I've seen that combination much in the comics. If like I'm trying to think back of all the stuff. Like, have I seen Daredevil really interact with She-Hulk all that much? Probably not. So that was just a neat thing for me to see on screen. I do have to say I wasn't a huge fan of watching them spend a night together. They're consenting adults. They can do what they want. They can have fun. I'm okay with that. I think I'm more in like long-term stuff of like, really? That's what you're gonna do? They just because they both happen to be lawyers. That's why. I was like, okay.
Let them have it. They're the only people that they know that are those intersecting like Venn diagram circles of superheroes who are lawyers. And they're single and they're attractive. Like, let them have it. I'm happy for the both of them. They're both so happy the next morning. Like, not like I love Daredevil walking home in his costume, but with his shoes
barefoot
off, like feet in the grass. Yeah. Like it's such a moment of peace and contentedness for him. He's whistling. I love his just quiet joy in that scene. I'm very happy for Matt.
Yeah, no, like I'm not against them like having a one night stand or something. Because in those circumstances, wow, you're a superheroing lawyer, and you're like you're cute too, and like okay, like that makes sense. But I'm more like, I don't know if that's a combination I would like to see long term for like a relationship there, which is not what we get, so we don't really need to worry about it. So,
I think it is kind of unspoken between the two of them. Like, we live on opposite sides of the coast. You know, you live in LA, I live in New York. We will rarely see each other. Let's just have fun while we do happen to be together.
That's why they skipping too.
Yeah. Maybe she's got like an episode in the whole like 18 episode run of Daredevil Born Again. And maybe that's it. And then they'll see each other again in Secret Wars.
Who knows? Yeah. Yeah. Something like that would be neat. Man, I had a blast. I liked all of their just kind of like light playfulness with each other. Again, I think their chemistry was fantastic. She was sitting there like, man, a great job on your ketchup and mustard color scheme. And he's just like, all right, that one was good. I'll give you that one. I liked it. I liked them together, and I would like to see more of them on screen, like not fighting with each other, but like going out and like, all right, we need to do some superheroing and stuff like that. I hope down the road we get to see some more of them on screen.
Yeah,
I think that'd be good. The one thing that I wasn't so sure of was how bendy Daredevil was. A lot of CGI.
I can't yell at him for that. I was thinking, he does look
bad per se.
Yeah, There
I
are
don't know.
times when he looked a little rubbery, but then I thought, well, rubber's a safety material. Rubber's your friend. I'm never mad at rubber in real life, and I shouldn't be mad at it on screen.
Well, okay. But like the Netflix show, like that was one of the strong points of the show is how brutal and how visceral those fight scenes were. Like that hallway fight scene in season 1 where you just know he is dead tired. And he's like, he's pushing himself off that wall. Like I wanted to see more of that style of stuff and not like, okay, we'll make this CGI instead.
Well, I think he's CGI because She-Hulk is CGI. Like, I just think there weren't as many practical elements in this particular fight scene as he would probably encounter in his own solo Hell's Kitchen adventure. He probably will be fighting against or alongside far fewer CGI elements. You know, I think just like maybe it's hard to do stunts around She-Hulk when, you know, it's already Tatiana Maslany with like a pole on her head with a fake face on it where you're supposed to look at. Like, if they have to CGI her, I understand that there might be more elements around her that also need to be CGI'd. That's okay.
I guess on the other hand, though, like if I'm trying to find the bright side of this is it almost feels more comic accurate this way, right? Where like Daredevil is the kind of character that I see him doing all of these flips and acrobatic stuff. And I think the most like acrobatic stuff that we see him do in the Netflix show is like run down an alley and like jump on top of a dumpster. Like that's kind of it. And so, yeah, like it, like that's why I wasn't so taken aback that I was like, oh, this was bad. Like, what did they do here? But it was just like, oh, not what I was expecting. Maybe not the biggest fan of it, but yeah, that makes sense. Like, I guess, you know.
I guess.
I
guess. It's one fight scene. I enjoy doing these week to week, but sometimes I worry that we wind up scrutinizing things that were never designed to be scrutinized. Like, I don't like the idea of while you are watching a show and you're not even done with it yet, you are ranking everything you have seen based on incomplete context because the thing isn't done yet.
Yeah, but what did you think about the hairstyle on Leapfrog? I think that's the most important thing that we need to talk about here, right? Like those iced tips, right? That's, I don't know. Marvel's really slacking these days. Yeah.
I'm here to applaud style choices. I'm here to applaud all the cool costumes, how great everybody looks all the time. The highlight of the episode for me is Nikki popping out with the makeup brush claws. I love that moment. That's worth the full price of admission.
That was good indeed. Yeah, so after all of the Matt Murdock Daredevil stuff, they still have to go to this gala that Jen thought she was going to be the only female lawyer winning the award, but no, all of them did. It's like just kind of a participation trophy. Yeah. Yeah, which is, it's just awful. It's just, that, man, I can't even imagine how just awful that feeling would be. And
this whole night, she also wins. Yeah, she's also qualifies. She also gets like a little statue or whatever. This whole night feels very flimsy. I am curious, like, how much of it was a front to begin with, or maybe this was always a legit thing, and there's just a intelligentsia guy who like just works staff at whatever event space they're in, and he's like, guys, I know what we can do. We can totally take over the night once She-Hulk is on stage.
I feel like this is a pretty real thing. My former roommate used to work for a title and loan company, or like a title, like real estate title company stuff. and I helped them put together a video for their award ceremony stuff. So if a place like that can have a semi prestigious award ceremony, it would make sense to me that like lawyers in and around like your area would have that kind of thing too. So that makes sense to me. But then, yeah, it is also this like it's just a participation award that they get here, and it just seems so flimsy and so fake, like you said. And Mallory Book just gives it to him. She goes, it feels awful. Feels like I have to be asked what it feels like. All you know. And then she passes the mic to She-Hulk, and that's when the intelligentsia hit. And do all of that.
I like that. I do want to say, I like that she's like, well, if I'm up here, I want to thank my parents. Like, I don't care about this question you're answering. I don't want to play along, but I also don't want to do what Mallory did and just shut down the whole thing.
Too.
Right, exactly. I like that she's like, I am kind of proud to be up here, as flimsy as this is. My folks showed up for this. I want to say thank you to them. Thanks, Marklyn Baker and other actress Melissa doesn't know.
Yeah. So yeah, the intelligentsia kind of take over the screen. They hack into the system, and they have a video playing that's trying to dox She-Hulk, even though her identity is already public. There is video footage of her night with now I forget his name, Josh, right?
Yeah. Which and it's filmed in such a way where it's like, where did he put his phone? Like while they were doing
it really
the deed?
does.
Is it just like
seem like he's like, okay, if I set this up right here, yeah, okay, good, yeah, is this in focus? Yeah, okay.
The footage is so clear. I'm like, there is no way you wouldn't notice how a phone has been placed like that.
Yeah, it's strange. But they have this video, they start playing it. It seems like the intelligentsia is there. Maybe they were part of the wait staff. Maybe they were like just in the crowd there. It's not exactly clear. They aren't, because there was a number of those people that put like the masks up, or the not masks, but like, I don't know, like scarves.
They had like bandanas on,
yeah, but they don't do anything. They all run away.
They just sort of lurk.
Yeah, but that's also partly because Jen is already in Hulk form, but then starts getting more angry than we've seen her yet.
Yeah.
I don't think she did anything particularly super angry. She destroyed the screen. They told her not to. That was maybe kind of it. But I like, at the end of the day, like, I don't feel like she did all that much. And then she goes outside by breaking through the wall. That is probably the biggest thing of property damage that she had there. But then immediately you have damage control already on the scene before she broke the wall. So I don't like, why were they there? That's what I want to know. Like, how did they get there so fast? That doesn't really make sense exactly. I don't know. Somehow
and when
intelligentsia cooked it all up. But
yeah, and when she destroys the screen, there's like red lights and alarm noises, and I don't think that's how a normal event space would have its like fire alarm or anything like that set up. You don't turn all the lights red. Like that also feels like that's something else. That has been interfered with, that has been tampered with. And I think it might have also been a fear tactic to like make all those people scream and run out of the room. Because I imagine like if that hadn't happened, there would have been like shocked gasps, the people getting up, people walking out. But I don't know if the entire crowd would flee from Jen like she's Frankenstein in an old Frankenstein movie if we hadn't had the red lights and the alarm noises. Like that was something that, well, I wouldn't say that it bugged me, because I think it is purposeful. I think it is intentional how like after Jin like destroys that screen, like really like hulks out, the alarms go off, like there's no sympathy for it. Like everybody treats her just like immediately like a threat. Like she's stopped being one of their colleagues. Everybody like runs out screaming. And I really hope that there is reconciliation for that in the next episode. I want somebody to talk to that crowd and be like, this is one of you. You know, Jennifer Walters, Esquire, is one of your colleagues. You need to stand by her. Yeah, she can smash things, but like, don't let that stop you from being there for her when something bad happens to her.
Exactly.
That we all clearly saw was like undeserved. I really hope that's something like Nikki gets to do in this final episode. I think about how Nikki has been consistently like the best friend, the most supportive. She's the one who like breaks out of the shock and like runs away to wherever the tech booth is. Like, you guys have to turn this video off.
Yeah.
And I think about how her argumentation or like her deliberation skills, her diplomacy skills were really shining in that episode with like Mr. Immortal's, like the L's ex-spouses. I want her to have that sort of moment where it really shines her friendship, her care for other people, and her ability to like handle a crowd and like manage emotions.
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be fantastic. I'm sure we will find out more in the next one of what exactly is happening, who is behind the intelligentsia, all that stuff. I think, man, what was I about to say? I had something. It was the intelligentsia, what was happening. God, my mind is blanking now. I had something. Oh, so here's something that we can talk about. After this one, so we just watched episode 8, but if I'm not mistaken, there was a brief change up in how the episodes were supposed to go from what they originally were. What we saw as
that's right.
Episode 1 was going to be episode 8, meaning what we just saw was going to be episode 7. So I think what's interesting that the intelligentsia said about She-Hulk is that she stole her powers. Which is an interesting way to put that she stole them, which I know last week you had a theory about what if Ched is somehow involved or behind this.
My Ched senses are still up. I wonder if like she got these powers because she was like going on a road trip with Bruce, and I wonder if like originally it was like a boys' weekend and Ched and Bruce were gonna go somewhere and he couldn't go at the last minute, and he's like, if that didn't happen, if Jin didn't go, I could have been a Hulk.
Yeah, Best Buy had some like mandatory staff meeting and he had to like stay there or something, right? Yeah, like I think the thought that Jen stole those powers lends credence to someone like Ched being like, no, I deserve those. She stole those from me. I'm supposed to be the next Hulk or something like that. It was just an interesting way to frame that. Is what I thought. So
I wasn't thinking about that particular language choice. Yeah.
We shall see. We shall see. We got the finale next week. We will be back to do our reactions on that. But in the meantime, out tomorrow is Werewolf by Night. So we will have some sort of reaction review spoiler cast thing up as well. If it's not up tomorrow as on Friday, we will have that up on Saturday. But yeah, be on the lookout for all of that. In the meantime, Melissa, where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcast, Saturday Morning Obscurities.
There you go. You guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer. And of course, if you guys would like to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at the Whatnauts, We are at the Whatnauts on Twitter, so please go like, share, and subscribe. That would help us out a ton. If you're on the YouTube version, go subscribe, go watch one of the other videos over there. And yeah, if you're listening to this as a podcast, we thank you a ton. This has been number 88 of the Reactor Core. We will see you all next time. Bye.
Bye.